We're gonna get this recorded, which I thought it was so peculiar. If you did not get to watch our team Zoom last night, it was super, super awesome. Number one, you got to hear a day in the life of Samantha as a crazy busy mom who does three different businesses. But we also got to hear from Amy Donnell. I don't know how to say her last name. I know she said it last night, but anyways, and it was just so bizarre to hear her story. I had private messages from this lady dated way back, and then Tammy mentioned that she actually went to the Toledo, Ohio Zoom or meeting or whatever, and that's how we got to know her. But it's just so funny. So I don't know, on week 5 or 6 or week 5 probably of this unfiltered journey with Lindsey. And so we've talked about day one, we've talked about the first month, we've talked about hitting 12K, moving on to 40K, what it was, all of the things. But what is so crazy is this week was all about vision boards and how important they are and why, prior to Lavelle, and I say Lavelle because I had never done any type of network marketing business prior to Lavelle. I just didn't have like the empowerment. I never remember growing up or being around people that talked about vision boards, or obviously we always talked about dreams and wanting more and stuff like that. Like that's a no-brainer, but it was the vision board part that really threw me for a loop because I was like, well, what the heck? I know what I want, but do I know what I want? And they just so tonight's goes hand in hand because it was pretty much when our team, Thriving Sisters, hit 40K, which would have been in March of 2014, within the first 6 months of joining this business. And I thought to myself, you know what? I kept hearing over and over and over again. And on this, I'm very transparent with you. So in the beginning, you had Paul and Jason, obviously, as the CEOs and the co-owners of Lavelle. You have Jason Camper, who is still with us. Thank you, Jesus. Still the brains of the company, always the innovator. Like, I've just always been infatuated with him. I'll be honest. He knows it. I love him. There's something about, I can hear him talk for hours. But on the other end, we had Paul Gravette, who was sell, 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 go, 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 motivate, 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 all of the things. And I'll be honest, it was always Paul talking about making a vision board. And you've got to know what you're working for. You can write it down, you can talk about it, but you need to see it. You really genuinely need to see it. And so I remember my very first vision board was on, and I wish that I was at home to get to show y'all, but I'm not, was on a yellow, greenish poster board because that's all the Dollar Tree had. And I was not creative at all. One thing that y'all can vouch for is, if you get any kind of Canva graphic out of me, it is not creative. I just know I can tell you, I can sell it, and I can tell you what you want, but I cannot make it. So my very first vision board was lines, scribble lines, and it was like full-time mom, part-time employee, um, 200K. I wish that I had that. It was just squiggle. It was literally me writing it. It was no cutting out of a newspaper. It was no nothing like that. And that was my very first vision board. And I remember I hung it on my door and looked at it every single day because I still had a full-time job. I was still doing the do to get the get. I was working this business first thing in the morning when I had bathroom breaks, when I came home at night while Bradley was out on the court, all of the things. I worked this business, but I had that vision board in front of me. And I just remember thinking, I wanted to turn my part time income into a full time income. And that I just wasn't, I wasn't creative. And then I remember hosting a vision board party. So I had a shop and it was towards the end of March, 1st of April. So it was still cold. And I invited our entire Thriving Sisters team over to my house. And I'm going to tell you right now, there was probably 50 people that came. That was My team was very, very local in the beginning of my business. Everybody was local. And I remember telling everybody to bring your magazines, find what you can. Back in the day, I remember having magazines at like my disposal. And then when I actually need them, I had to go buy the son of a bucks. That was challenging, by the way, to go find the magazines. But we had a true vision board party. And what that included for me personally, and this is why it ties in, I had a section for myself. I had a section for Briley. I had a section for my ex-husband. I had, yes, I say that because it was him. He's an ex now. And then I had a section for my team. But this time, I remember I sat down and I did my own section. I did my team's section. I asked my ex-husband what he wanted. And then this was all I knew all of those things during the day of that party and I worked on them. And, for me, my why back then was just being a full time mom. I just wanted to be able to stay home. I wanted to be able to have a full time. I can't really remember I mean, was it I don't remember having like a lot of big things on there because I was still learning to dream. Does that make sense? I was still trying to figure out truly what a vision board was. So I just remember the main thing that I wanted was being able to stay home with Briley and take her and be such a huge part of her life. Um, but I set Briley down after this event because, of course, I'd done mine. I remember my husband wanted to go and have gold buckle seats to the PBR. We knocked that out. As our team, we wanted to be a 200K team, full-time thriver. We were able to knock those things out. But the one that was so huge for me is I set Riley down because I was always a firm believer that when you include your family in this, when you're giving them the finger, and I don't mean the middle finger, but the finger, because remember, we were talking almost 12 years ago, it was three-way calls. That's what my business was ran off of three-way phone calls. They did not have the fun chat thing that we have now, the messenger stuff. None of that was even a thing. Zoom was probably a thing, but nobody really even heard of it or knew about it. We did team calls and we did three-way calls. And I always remember doing this. Or there were many nights, and I have no shame in this, and I'm going to be very transparent. I have no shame the time I took away from my family to build this business. Otherwise, I would not be sitting my ass right here with a jacket on and sweatpants on in Red River, New Mexico, living my life right now. I don't have any regret in it. And I want to make sure that you understand that I worked this business 24/7 when I first joined because I saw the vision and the passion and I knew the train was going with or without me. I still feel that way to this day. It's just a whole different route once you build a team. And so I set Riley down and I'm like, what do you want, Riley? And of course, she was like, I want to make the volleyball team. That was a big deal because she was going into middle school. And I was like, okay, we can do that. Like, where would you want to go? If you could go anywhere, where would you want to go? And she put Disney on there. And so, you heard Amy talk about Disney as what changed the trajectory of her story and her husband with Olaf. For me, it was Briley wanted to go to Disney. And I remember sitting there that day thinking, we're going to make this shizzle happen. If I'm doing this come hell or high water, I'm going to prove to my daughter and myself that I can do this, that I can get you to Disney and I'm not going to do it on a dime. I'm going to really plan it out. I'm going to make this a trip of a lifetime. And so we were in, here I am, March, April. I said, okay. And I said, when do you want to go to Disney? Like, do you want to go just anytime? Is there a particular theme you want to do? And she was like, I think Christmas would be so much fun at Disney. And guys, that year in 2014, not only did I take my daughter to Disney, but I took my ex-husband, I took my mother, I took my sister, her husband, and her two kids. All of us went to Disney because of Riley's vision board goals. And that's why, I think it's so important. Like we now make vision boards and you throw them behind you and you don't really think a lot about it because now that I personally, I'm speaking for me, now that I know what a vision board is, sometimes I shoot so high for the stars that I'm like, ooh, shit, Lindsey, maybe that's 10 years away, instead of doing some small incremental things. And another thing too that Samantha challenged us, which I thought was really crazy last night, is she said, go back and remember what it is that you've accomplished. Guys, it could be something so minute, or it could be something like that Disney trip. I know for me personally, as much as taking Briley to Disney was like the best thing since sliced bread. You want to know what really was my favorite thing? It was me being able to buy a new car. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I only held on to my little XT5 or whatever it was 11 and a half years ago for 2 months. And I traded that bigger in for an Escalade because I had my heart set on an Escalade and I was able to trade that in. And that was huge for me. A freaking single mom. And I say single mom because, yes, I was married, but I was still a single mom. Okay. I was still the one that was in charge of everything Briley related with no child support coming in, no true dad. I was her everything for her. And I was like, shit, Lindsey, you just bought $100,000 car. And I know that cars don't mean anything to me, but just that Escalade was a game changer for me. Taking Briley on that trip was a game changer. And so that challenge that Samantha challenged us last night really put me in my feels and was so perfect for this lead in tonight is, do you have a true vision board? Have you updated your vision board in a while? I know I had this conversation. Here we go. Internet connection unstable. It's such a thing. Am I back?
You're okay now. We lost you when you first
Okay.
started talking about how you bought a car, though, but we're good.
Okay, and I want for y'all to really think about it because it's so easy for us to get caught up in the hustle and bustle. It's so easy for us to take for granted a weekly paycheck, whether it's $20 or $2,000. It's so easy for us to forget that we've earned a leadership retreat or we've got to go to a Thrive conference of some sort. Like that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And for me on this unfiltered journey, I didn't do I dreamt and I thought about things, but like I don't know. I just thought I've always been, and this comes back to a retreat that Tammy did, the Circle Maker retreat. I have always been the type of person, and I think this is our religion too, because I'm Methodist originally. Don't ask for more than you've already got. Like, be thankful for what you already have. So, a big portion of my Thrive journey so far has always been about me being like, God, Lindsey, you have food on the table. You have a home. You have a great new husband now. You have a daughter who didn't miss out. You never missed any of her things. Like, those are such huge things. So sometimes it's hard for me to see a bigger picture, like a home that I purchase here or all of the things. And then we added a huge Pentecostal team to our team. And I'll be honest with you, remember, this is Unfiltered Lindsey. They actually were some of the ones that were like, Lindsey, God wants you to want more. He wants for you to have anything that you ask for, that you work for. Like Tammy said, is not on a budget, sister. He wants for you to dream big, God-sized dreams. And so it was this team, it was this opportunity that made me really do that. But I also am going to challenge you. If I were at home right now and I was doing this Zoom, I have this big, huge vision board and I spent a lot of time on it. And it is fancy AF and it is so cute and it's all these things. But I need to get back to the basics, to the keychain of just in the moment. What is it in the moment? What can I do right now? Yes. Oh my gosh. See, Carolyn has hers. I think yep, Tammy's walking with hers. I just had a conversation with Tammy a couple of weeks ago and she was like, I already need to change out 3 of my little things because they've been accomplished since we did this almost 2 years ago. And you know what? That's reality right there. That's saying, and for some of them are small, some of them are huge. And I'm pretty sure that when you go back and you look at these things, I've kept every single board I've ever made. And so my challenge for myself, which I've made it, is to go back and relook at those, see the things, add to my done it board, update my keychain, and remember that you have to have small, medium, and large goals. And I say that because if you set your goal for some huge thing and you're not accomplishing it, it's easy to give up. But if you say, you know what, I want to pay off this little credit card, or hell, it could be 10 pounds. I want to do that. One of mine was as simple as reading the Bible every day because you know how easy it is to wake up and life happens, and that's the easiest thing to just say, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that. That's a huge goal because at the end of the day, I have to rely on him. So thank you for, joining me tonight. These are just real, raw, and filtered moments for me to prove to y'all that 11 and a half years ago was social media, was things different? Heck yes, it was different. Shit, it was different. I go back and look at messages. Well, some of them I can't even scroll back. And I think, oh my God, if I've sent that message to somebody today, but then I also think that we lose our passion and we are so fearful of overstepping instead of just remembering that it's a passion and a purpose. And I think that that's so important for us to do because some things can be so redundant, like sending the message. Or guess what? The promo hit today. Oh shit, I don't want to go send that message to that person that told me they were going to order because they didn't order on the last promo. Instead of just saying, I'm not going to give up on you if you're not going to give up on me. Here's another opportunity for you to thrive. I just remember being that person that was pushy. And in my 11 and a half years, I think I've had one, maybe two. I can't even honestly remember. Tell me, girl, I'm done. Leave me the heck alone. Like, okay, big deal. Fine. Here we go again. Your internet connection is unstable. Oh, me and old Elon are fixing to have a fist fight when I find him. So go and make a vision board. Go and update your keychain if you were at that retreat. If you weren't and we were like, what is this keychain thing about? Send me a private message. I'll be more than happy to send you the links of what Tammy came up with and what we did and just show you because that is something that is very easy for you to take with you, to travel with you, to do things. Plus, we started with 10. And I think that's a great starting point for you because this is not 10. I want to go to Switzerland and Ireland and pay off my house. Yes, can some of those be it? Some of them are as small as I want to read my Bible every day. Or Tammy, tell me one of your small ones, and Carolyn, tell me one of your small ones real quick. Because I want just to should show people that watch this recording transparent.
Okay, well, I don't know if I have a small one left.
I got bills paid, debt canceled, financially free.
Amen.
Let's see, what are my new ones? It says, I'm so happy and grateful now that we've built a pergola on the patio with a roof for shelter and shade.
See? There you go. She's not talking about going to a pergola over out of the country. She wants it right there in her own backyard for the shade and all of the things. So, guys, dream big, pray bigger, don't give up. Go back and see what you've accomplished. Have your, as we said on our Zoom last night, your Disney moment or your car moment or the first time that you got your Thrive for free when it didn't have to come out of your own checking account. I don't know what it is for you. You know what it is. And I promise it'll give you chills. When you remember that moment, it will give you chills of when you can say, golly, I knew this business paid off for itself. So thanks for joining, and I will see you again next Tuesday. And I'll let you know what happens from 40K to 80K because boy howdy, that was a tough one. That was a hard run, and I'll let you know next week what that consists of. So with that, we will see y'all next week. Bye, guys.